welcome. My name is Kelsey and I'm a creative living on Vancouver Island, Canada. This is episode 4 in a series where I'm sharing the process of hand making a wardrobe by my 40th birthday next spring. So it's been a little while since I filmed, definitely over a month ago since I've done a wardrobe update. And I basically just took August pretty slow, and not only with filming but also with making, and it was a nice time to just reflect on how the project's going and look forward into fall. And I'll share more about those reflections later in the video, but let's get started on a knitting update. So one of the projects I was working on in my last video is camisole number 10 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which I knit up in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color powder. If you've watched my videos, you'll know that I have a few of these tank tops in different colors. This one is no different from those. I did, again, shorten the armhole. I did a few less increases here just to get a little bit more coverage under the arm, which I prefer. It's very easy to knit up. It's just a great basic in the summer and hopefully a good layering piece moving into fall. Yeah, not much else I can say about those. I've talked about this pattern quite a lot, but I was able to finish that project since my last video. If you recall, I had also finished my Olga sweater. So this is the Olga sweater by Petite Knit in size medium, Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the color wheat. And I wasn't happy with the neckline on this sweater, and I ended up taking the neckline out and haven't repicked it up, but that's probably the first thing on my list of things to do because we are entering into the type of weather where I could wear this sweater. So I do want to get that done as soon as possible. Actually, I think I might pick it up today and just get started on it. So one of the suggestions I got on my previous video was to pick it up and then do a German short row turn and start knitting inside out. So knit the entire collar inside out. So I think I'll give that a try. There was a few other comments about knitting twisted purls or twisted knit stitches to get a neater collar, but I think I'll just give the knitting inside out a try and be a little bit more cautious when I pick up these stitches trying to get them to be neat. But I haven't worn this because I took the neck out almost right after my last video, but I need to get that done right away. So that is definitely on my list of things to work on soon. I also was working on some socks and I have made no progress, but as with this one, I think I should get working on it. I basically just need to finish the toe on the second sock. So I need to work on those so I can experience wearing them this fall. And I did cast on 3 new projects. One of them I talked about in my last video, and that is the Blouse number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, knit in Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the color wheat. I had shared a little video of my friend wearing this sweater. She had made it and I really liked it. And I had about, I think, 4 balls of wheat left from my Olga sweater. So I just decided to get started on it and take my chances with the dye lots and just order more as I progress through this project. So I cast on and have gotten started, basically did the increased stitches for the shoulder line and then started on one side of the sweater. And it's been a couple weeks since I worked on this, but it was pretty straightforward and easy to remember the repeat of stitches throughout the rows. So that is a work in progress. So I had mentioned in my last video, and I still stand by the statement, is I definitely need more t-shirts or light sweaters for summer, especially, you know, late August into September. We're still having warm days, but we have cooler mornings and cooler evenings, and it would be great to have some lighter weight cotton layering pieces. So that's where this could come in, and it's definitely something I need to think about moving forward. I'm curious to see how my motivation with this one progresses considering we are heading into fall, but it is on my list of things to work on and in my pile of whips. I also casted on the clay tee by Ozetta in these. This one was in a size, the blouse number 2 was also in a size medium, but this one I'm knitting in a size medium. This is knitting for olive cotton merino in the color bark, and it's just an all over textured tee pattern. I was going to make it as a tee, but they do have a long sleeve version. I'll be sure to add a photo of that, and I may adapt it for that or just change my mind and see if I can get long sleeves out of it. So I've been working on that. Pretty straightforward. It's got like a really nice pickup here on the shoulder, and yeah, overall a pretty easy knit so far. I worked on this on my trip to Victoria, and I haven't knit for a couple weeks really, so maybe just a few lines here and there, or a few rows here and there, but yeah, working along on this one. Undecided if I'll make it the tee or the long sleeve, but another piece for summer layering. And I think, oh, and I do also have one other project which I suppose isn't part of my wardrobe project, but it is a knit that I've started working on, and it is the Moby sweater by Petite knit in the child version. I think I'm making the smallest size in that pattern, so 1 to 2, and I'm knitting this for my cousin's baby boy who turned 1 in August, so this was supposed to be his birthday present, but I got started on it and kind of set it aside, and now I need to start looking at it again, because if I don't make it for this winter, it probably won't fit him. So I've got the little back done and a little bit of the shoulder. It's Double Sunday by Sandnes Garn, and I'll have to put the color on the screen because I don't recall what it is, but cute little knit. I'm excited to see it done and excited to see him wearing it. It's the first time I've done cables, and it's also the first time I've read a chart with knitting, so that has been a bit of a learning experience, and overall it's going pretty good. So I think that's it for knitting updates, and I will get into sewing. So I had shared a fabric haul that I did from Blackbird Fabrics in one of my other videos, so not one of my wardrobe update videos, and I made a few of the pieces from the fabric that I ordered for that. So one of them is the Clo bias skirt, and I made it in this picnic gingham lightweight linen from Blackbird Fabrics, and it is very sweet. I probably finished it late July and haven't worn it much, which I'll talk about later, but it ended up being a little bit more see-through than I had hoped, and I ended up lining it in, I think it's just a cotton batiste that I picked up from Fabricland in this nude color, and it's a great skirt pattern. It's got some nice finishings, an elastic waistband. As you can see, I have that cotton just sewn right into the waistband. I don't think I like lined garments. I think that the extra weight of the lining and it sort of bunching up a little bit under the skirt was enough that I didn't love wearing this. I did wear it a couple times, and it is really sweet, and I'm still sort of thinking about it. I think I had wished that I did this out of a darker, thicker fabric so that I wouldn't have needed to line it. I'll definitely put in a little clip of me wearing it. Yeah, great pattern. I wish I didn't have to line it. I did have to line it with this fabric. One other thing to note is I actually haven't hemmed it. I sewed it, wore it, washed it, and then hung it, because with bias skirts, I think you're supposed to let them hang so that the fabric can settle and you can get a straight hemline. But I ended up really liking this little frilly, I guess it's frayed line that was created after I washed the skirt. And I actually think it suits what the skirt is and will probably leave it. I may put it out on a cutting mat and just make sure that the bottom of the skirt is straight, and if it's not, I'll just cut it and then throw it in the washing machine to get this frayed edge. And then I think I'll do a line of stitching maybe a 1/4 inch up just to make sure that it doesn't continue fraying, because I like it the way it is. That is just what I think should be done, not necessarily a researched idea. Yeah, so that's the Clo By a Skirt by Soften Studios in Blackbird Fabrics Picnic Gingham Linen. One of the other things that I made, and if you recall in my last update, I said I was pretty inspired to sew or knit in chocolate brown. So my next 2 pieces are in a dark brown, and one of them is the Lane pants in everyday linen in the color Espresso from Blackbird Fabrics. Straight size 8. No modifications. Did the pockets. Yeah, I mean, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know I've made these pants a few times. For whatever reason, my white version feels a little bit smaller, and I had talked about possibly making the size 6 instead of the size 8 because I think these are just a titch too big for me, but because the white ones worked out so well, I went with a size 8 again for these, and it's been all right. They're maybe a little bit bigger than I would hope for. I made these ones a little bit longer because I thought they'd be nice to just wear with a pair of sneakers in the fall, and I needed a little bit of extra length to wear them with shoes. So they do feel a little bit bigger, but perhaps with a sweater that'll be nice. I did wear these quite a bit just casually in August, and it's a great pattern if you haven't tried it. So that's, yeah, the Lane Pants by Sydney Graham. And the last sewing update that I have is the Sewing Therapy tie dress. And this was sewn in Blackbird Fabrics Breezy Linen in the color Mink. And they do have a note on their website for this fabric that lighter colors are a little bit more see-through, but I didn't have any problem with this. So it is a dress that almost has like a little bit of a bib front with these ties sewn into the seam on the front and back. It's got a V-neck back or front, I guess, and a rounded on the other side. And these ties can be tied a variety of ways. If you look this dress up on Instagram, there's a lot of different examples of how it's worn. I did sew this with all French seams, which took a little while but was enjoyable to do and has quite a nice finish on the inside. So there are no serged seams on the inside of this dress, which turned out really beautifully on this seam, the side seams. But I do find it's a bit bulky where this center seam is. And I think because of that, there's basically a seam across the front that has a bit more structure than I would like it to have. And I feel like it's causing the dress to not drape quite as nicely as I think it could have if I had just serged that seam. I think that's the last seam that gets put together, so I could easily go back, take that out, and just serge it. But that's something to note. The French seaming is just really beautiful on some of the seams, and it was easy to do because this center piece is actually 2 layers thick, which is how she gets such a nice neckline with no facing or bias binding. So yeah, that's the sewing therapy tie dress. I would have made, I think I made a size 6. I'll definitely put that on the screen. I think I could have gone bigger and maybe gotten the look that I wanted, but overall it sewed up really nicely. It's a sweet dress. I made it for a 100th birthday party that I attended in August, and if you watched my little travel video from going down to Victoria to attend that birthday party, you'll know that I didn't actually wear it. I ended up wearing one of these Le Bon Shop dresses that I have. And I want to chat about that a little bit further when I look at the big picture for the project, because yeah, I have some reflections moving forward with how to proceed with this. So overall, very sweet. I haven't worn it yet. Okay, so I think that's everything. Let me just take a quick look at my note. Oh, I did also want to talk about the sheared dress that I was thinking of making. So I had this purpley mauvey colored cotton from Blackbird Fabrics, and I was going to make a shirred dress out of it. I tried shirring and I didn't love the way it felt when I was wearing it. So then I found this other dress that I thought I could do with just elasticated cinching at the waist, and I was going to try and draft the pattern by myself. And I did make some progress on it, but when I went to try to do it out of the cotton with all the nice finishings for the dress, it really didn't turn out great, and I think I got a little bit discouraged partway through, so that wasn't necessarily a success. I think my reflection on that is just to work from patterns for now. I just don't know if I loved the process of self-drafting it and the amount of toiles that you have to do, and there's so many great patterns out there. It might be something that I circle back on, and luckily, because the pieces for the dress were cut out so big, like for example, the skirt was so big that a lot of that fabric is still intact, although it's not in its original meterage. I definitely cut into it a bunch, but I might be able to use it for some other project or some little knitting bags or something like that. But it wasn't a success. And that's okay. Yeah, moving into winter, I'm not too worried about not having that dress to wear. So that is that. And let's talk about the big picture. So I have made a number of pieces so far. I've knit a few of those Cami number 10s. I've made a few different skirts, multiple pairs of lane pants, the one sweater, and the one dress. And yeah, in August, I didn't wear as much of my handmade clothing as I thought I would. I actually lived almost exclusively in Le Bon Shop dresses. So I have this dress in the color I'm wearing now, which is like a natural color, and it's just got this like almost no sleeves, but quite a lot of fabric here, so quite a lot of coverage. I also have the dress in a more t-shirt form in white, and then I have it in gray. And in July, I was quite a bit more motivated to wear the clothing that I've made, like the Zamora skirt, and I was interested in the Chloe bias skirt, and I felt a little bit more enthusiasm to feel like bright and cheerful and wear spring and summer fabrics. But by the time August rolled around, for me, August just has a different feeling. It's almost like the end of the year, and it's almost like a time to rest and reflect and enjoy the gifts of that month, all the produce and fruit. And I have seen a little reel or meme on Instagram circulating that says August is the Sunday of the year, and that really fit for me. it isn't a time when I feel that inspired or motivated. It's almost a time where I'm waiting for September and it's really hot, and I just, we went camping, we took a little trip, and I took it easy, and I found I just wanted to wear like a cotton knit, very comfortable, very effortless outfit. And I almost just like lived in these dresses, which made me reflect a little bit on the project and how things are going. I am a little bit more interested in a little bit more planning and capsule style projects than I have in the previous months. And I think that's just because I made a number of pieces in late July and early August, I guess. The Chloe Bias skirt, the lane pants, the sewing therapy tie dress, and then didn't wear them that much. So that was a time for me to just step back and reflect, because the whole point of this project was to be really intentional. So a couple things that it got me thinking about was capsule style wardrobe and also the idea of a uniform. So in August, I loved to wear this dress, and it almost felt a little bit like a uniform, like it was a faithful option. I knew it was very comfortable. I could lounge around the house in it, but I could also go to the coffee shop or the grocery store, or even like we were hanging out camping and I was wearing it. But I was wondering what the fall version of this dress is. And I had a conversation with a friend that owns a really beautiful clothing store in our area, and we chatted about this. And one of the ideas that we came up with, or some of the things that we came up with, were very comfortable, well-fitting jeans. So not really tight, but enough room to comfortably live in them. White t-shirt with a sweater and a pair of sneakers, or a simple sort of heavier weight linen button down. Yeah, that's basically what we came up with. So I've been thinking a little bit about that and what that could look like for me going forward this fall. And it's really just a shift back towards classic and less experimental in my wardrobe, which, yeah, it might just be the time of year. Like I said, spring is a time when I feel like trying a bunch of different stuff, whereas August and September have been a little bit of a time for reflection, and I'm craving some more classic basics in my wardrobe. So I did take a look at my sweaters that I've knit in previous years, and I have two of them here, and they are some of my favorites, and I think some of the most classic pieces that I have knit so far. So I'm going to tell you about them. The first one is sweater number 11 light by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I knit this in a size medium in Issayer tweed in the color oat, I believe. I'll put that on the screen if it's not right. And Knitting for Olive silk mohair in also the color oat. So I might not have those names right, but I'll definitely put them up. And it's a drop shoulder turtleneck sweater with twisted rib hem. And this has been folded up in my closet basically since probably February or March. So it's not looking the best, but I did wash my sweaters before I put them away, so it does smell nice and fresh. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. It really feels like a classic to me. So that is something that I will, I'm sure, wear a lot of this winter. And it is one of my ideas moving forward with feeling a little bit more like I have a uniform or a smaller wardrobe with less sort of experimental items. The second sweater I wanted to talk about was sweater number 18 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I knit a lot of her patterns. They seem to fit me really well, and the size medium always seems to be perfect for me. So this was knit in Knitting for Olive heavy merino and Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. I think the mohair is in ochre, and I think the heavy merino, I can't remember what the name of it is, but I will put it up on the screen. So this is an all over textured knit. It is very wide. It's got a double knitted collar. Yeah, it's just a series of purls and knits to create the pattern. And this was actually the first sweater I ever knit and finished, which felt like a real achievement. So it is one of my sort of dear pieces. The color for me is very fall. So my favorite time to wear this would be October, November, maybe a little bit of December. And then I don't know if I love the color as much outside of that. So one of my ideas was to knit another one of these, but in a color more similar to this, maybe a little bit more warm toned, and that would get me through sort of winter and spring or early spring. Yeah, this one reads more casual than this one. It is great with jeans and a pair of runners. And it's just very comfortable, very warm, great fitting. I love this sweater. So I would like to knit another one. And yeah, this is just sort of reflections on what are the classic pieces in my wardrobe and what do I think would be the equivalent of this dress, but for fall and winter. So knitting another one of these is definitely on my list of things. With sewing, I do have this cotton twill fabric from Blackbird Fabrics. I believe it's in the color Salt, and I would still like to make a pair of trousers out of it, or a sort of high-waisted barrel leg pants for this fall. And yeah, I feel like that could be great with just a classic sweater and a pair of sneakers. Back to the original sort of goals of this project were timeless, comfortable, easy, effortless. And I'm really thinking about that. Like I said, I didn't wear the pieces that I made more recently as much as I thought I would. And I took some time out and am taking some time out to just reflect on how I want to move forward with the project. And it's just an idea in my head at this point to just move forward with a little bit more planning and intention and capsule style and more uniform style. Not necessarily wearing like a black t-shirt and a pair of jeans every single day, but just having some like tried and true combinations. So that's on my mind, and hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit more on that idea in a coming video. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was 2 books that were recommended to me on my comments feed, and they are books that I already owned. One of them is Braiding Sweetgrass, and I've just gotten started on this one over the last couple days, so I haven't read in years. I haven't gave myself time to read, / have always just spent too much time on social media, but I have deleted all my social media apps from my phone. I still have my accounts and I still go on them on my laptop periodically, but I'm trying to sort of cut that constant daily checking of social media and give myself some more time for reading. So I'm just a couple chapters into this, and like I said, it's the first book that I've picked up in years, so I'm feeling like a little bit rusty and slow, but it's lovely to be reading before bed. And yeah, I love some of the ideas that she's presented already. One of the things that I've always had in my mind, and it comes up because in our area we have deer and they eat everybody's plants, and everybody's always upset about the deer coming in and eating plants, and what plants can we plant that the deer won't eat. And it always kind of got me thinking about how like they own our land as much as we do, and which is an odd thing to say in the world that we currently live in, where we all own little plots of land or little buildings up in the sky, whatever you want to say. There's a real property ownership mentality in our current way of life, but she talks about how early Indigenous communities thought about the ownership and how that transition happened. And it was really nice to have words put to a feeling that I had already had. And yes, I own this land, but I almost feel like the deer own it too, and they have a right to kind of come on my property. And if they're going to eat my plants, unfortunate for me, but I can't really get too mad about it. So lovely idea, and I'm really looking forward to reading more of this book. And the second book that someone brought up was The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, and I bought this book probably at least a year ago, and I know that I will love it. I actually bought the audiobook too and started listening to it, and while I was listening to it, I just thought, I gotta read this one hard copy, because there's something about reading hard copy where the words and ideas just sink in with me so much more. So this one's in the queue after I read Braiding Sweetgrass, and I'm looking forward to it. So I think that's all I have to talk about today. I was inspired by Ellie from All Wool Fiber, who filmed, I think, her last video in one take. So that's what I was trying to do today. And I didn't do quite as much planning for the video, but that makes it easier for me to film. So I'll film more often if I can build up the skill of just being able to talk without rambling on too much. So thank you so much for watching, and I am enjoying filming these videos, and I'm enjoying working on the projects, and it's been really nice to just take a couple weeks out to reflect on how things are going and share some of my new ideas with you. So I look forward to checking back soon. Take care.